Let's talk Tanya for the 28th of Adar. Yesterday, we discussed the mitzvah of tzedakah, and we explained how the mitzvah of tzedakah, our sages tell us, is equal to all the other mitzvahs combined. Very, very special mitzvah in terms of the impact it has on Dira b'tachtonim in creating a dwelling place for God over here in this world. It's unmatched by all the other mitzvahs. Today, the Tanya introduces another mitzvah, which is also, our sages tell us, is equal to all other mitzvahs. And what is that? That is Talmud Torah. Torah study. We say it every day in davening in the morning. V'Talmud Torah keneged kulam, that the study of Torah is equal to all the other mitzvahs combined. Now that's really a head scratcher. Think about it for a second. We were put down here in this world to make a dira b'tachtonim, to elevate the physical world. So tzedakah, we get it. Tzedakah, we already spoke yesterday, that I elevate so much of the physical world through giving charity, because not only am I elevating the actual coin, I'm elevating all the work that went into it. But the ultimate spiritual pursuit is Torah study. How is it that Torah study is outsized in terms of its impact in Dir B'Tachtonim, when Dir B'Tachtonim is about elevating the physical world? So Alter Rebbe tells us that Torah study has an advantage over all other mitzvahs, even in terms of Dir B'Tachtonim, in terms of creating a home for God here in this world. And that is in two ways. What are the two ways? Number one, we've spoken at length about the idea that when we do a mitzvah, it's not only about elevating the world, but it's also about elevating the animal soul. In fact, we spoke that we elevate the entire world via the animal soul. When I elevate my animal soul, I also elevate the whole support system behind it. In terms of refining and elevating the animal soul, when I do a mitzvah, I am elevating the garments of the animal soul, the thought, speech, and action of the animal soul. When I study Torah, I am elevating and making holy the intellect of the animal soul. So I'm having a much deeper impact on the animal soul when I'm studying Torah, more so than any other mitzvah, which is why Torah, even when it comes to Dir B'Tachtonim, is so highly effective. That's number one. Number two, we know there are 248 mitzvahs, and every single mitzvah corresponds to one of the limbs of the body. What's the connection between mitzvahs and limbs? Well, what constitutes a limb? A limb is something which draws into it the life force, the energy of the soul. The same thing is also every mitzvah draws down the life force and energy from God. That's the reason why it's a metaphor. That's the connection between the two of them. In the body, we have 248 limbs. One of the limbs is the brain. And we understand that the energy and the life force of the neshama is so much stronger and more potent in the brain than it is in other limbs. Which mitzvah corresponds to the brain? Which of the 248 mitzvahs corresponds to the brain? That is Torah study. So when I study Torah, I'm drawing down the energy of God, but it is a much higher, loftier, stronger, and more potent energy from God than any other mitzvah, because this is the brain mitzvah. So when I study Torah, I am making a dwelling place for God in this world because, number one, I'm elevating the intellect of the animal soul, and number two, what level of divine energy am I drawing down? A much higher level of energy than any other mitzvah. Now, to put it mildly, this is a real about turn from what we spoke about in the previous days. Until now, what are we talking about? We're talking about the value of action, and suddenly we're talking about the importance of Torah study in Dir B'Tachtonim and making a home for God. So which is it? Which one is the greater one? Bottom line, should I be spending my time studying Torah, or should I be doing action mitzvahs? The answer to that question, come back tomorrow, and let's talk some more Tanya.